You wake up groggy, reach for your phone in the dark, and drag yourself to the coffee machine, hoping caffeine will somehow jumpstart your brain. Millions of us start our days battling this profound inertia, believing we simply did not get enough sleep the night before. But what if the true culprit behind your chronic fatigue is not a lack of hours in bed, but a critical missing signal the moment you open your eyes? The modern habit of waking up indoors, shielded from the natural environment, is actively disrupting a foundational biological mechanism. We often treat sleep as a mathematical equation of hours logged, completely ignoring the biological triggers that tell our bodies when to rest and when to be alert. The common misconception is that energy is just about fuel and rest, overlooking the environmental cues that govern our internal pacing. When we transition straight from a dark bedroom to the artificial glow of a screen or a dimly lit office, we starve our biology of the exact stimulus it needs to function correctly. This indoor existence creates a state of perpetual jet lag without ever crossing a time zone. To understand how to fix this, we have to look closely at the back of the human eye. Your retina does much more than just process shapes and colors to help you navigate the physical world. Embedded within it are specialized cells called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. These cells contain a unique light sensitive protein known as melanopsin. Unlike the rods and cones that give us our visual picture of reality, these melanopsin receptors are specifically designed to detect the intensity and specific wavelengths of ambient light. Research reveals that these receptors are most sensitive to the short wavelength blue light naturally abundant in morning sunlight. When the sun rises, the specific angle of the light filtering through the atmosphere provides a massive, unmistakable dose of these wavelengths. Even on an overcast day, the sheer lux, or light intensity of outdoor morning light, is tens or hundreds of times more powerful than standard indoor lighting. When those photons hit your retina, the melanopsin receptors fire off an immediate, urgent electrical signal deep into the brain. That electrical impulse travels along a dedicated neural pathway directly to the hypothalamus, bypassing the visual processing centers entirely. It is not about seeing the light, it is about registering the time of day. This signal's ultimate destination is a tiny, incredibly powerful cluster of roughly 20,000 neurons. This cluster acts as the command center for your entire physiological daily cycle. This command center is the suprachiasmatic nucleus. Think of it as the master pacemaker for your body. It is the biological engine driving your circadian rhythm, the internal 24-hour clock that dictates when you feel sleepy, when you feel hungry, and when you are primed for peak physical or cognitive performance. Without a daily reset, this internal clock naturally drifts, running slightly longer than 24 hours, which gradually throws your entire system out of sync with the turning of the planet. The morning light pulse is the critical tether that anchors the suprachiasmatic nucleus to the external world. When this master clock receives that strong, undeniable signal of morning sunlight, it immediately synchronizes its timing. It is like setting the time on a mechanical watch. The light ensures that the internal gears of your biology match the actual time of day outside. Once synchronized, this pacemaker begins orchestrating a complex symphony of signals to every other organ and tissue in your body. The most immediate and crucial action taken by this newly synchronized master clock involves your stress hormones. It triggers a biological cascade known as the cortisol awakening response. While cortisol often gets a bad reputation as merely a stress hormone, it is actually vital for life and daily function. In a healthy system, A sharp, healthy spike in cortisol within the first hour of waking is exactly what you want. This early morning surge in cortisol acts as an internal alarm clock for your immune system, your metabolism, and your cardiovascular system. It raises your body temperature slightly, increases your blood pressure to a functional daytime level, and mobilizes glucose to give your brain and muscles immediate energy. By stepping outside into the sunlight shortly after waking, you amplify this cortisol awakening response, ensuring it peaks sharply and early in the day. Securing that early peak is essential because it guarantees the hormone will naturally taper off as the day progresses. If you miss that morning light signal, your cortisol curve can become blunted or delayed. A delayed peak means your body might release cortisol later in the afternoon or evening, exactly when you want your system to be winding down. This hormonal misalignment is a primary reason why so many people feel exhausted all day, but suddenly wired and anxious at bedtime. The benefits of this hormonal anchoring extend far beyond just feeling alert in the morning. When the master pacemaker registers that morning light, it simultaneously sets a timer for the evening. It signals the pineal gland to halt its current operations and prepare for the future. Specifically, morning sunlight exposure triggers the immediate suppression of melatonin, the hormone responsible for facilitating sleep. This melatonin suppression is the other side of the alertness coin. By definitively shutting down sleep hormone production first thing in the morning, your body clears out residual grogginess. More importantly, this morning light exposure starts a roughly 12 to 14-hour countdown timer. When that timer runs out later in the evening, your body will naturally release a robust, healthy surge of melatonin, ensuring you can actually fall asleep and stay asleep. The absence of this definitive morning signal creates a chaotic internal environment. Without the sharp cortisol spike and the complete shutdown of melatonin, your internal systems remain in a confused twilight state. Your digestion becomes sluggish, your cognitive processing slows down, and your mood regulation suffers. This is not just a matter of feeling a bit tired. Chronic circadian disruption is heavily linked by clinical research to an increased risk of metabolic syndrome, depression, and cardiovascular disease. Psychiatric studies increasingly point to the timing of light exposure as a foundational pillar of mental health. Patients suffering from seasonal affective disorder or major depressive episodes often show significant improvement when prescribed morning bright light therapy. The natural sunlight hitting those specific retinal receptors stimulates the production of serotonin, a neurotransmitter deeply involved in mood stabilization, focus, and feelings of well being. Focusing on this early environmental cue can dramatically shift our psychological baseline. That morning serotonin boost does double duty for your long term daily cycle. Serotonin is actually the biochemical precursor to melatonin. By maximizing your serotonin production through morning sunlight, you are literally building the chemical reservoir your body will use to synthesize sleep hormones later that night. The brightness of your morning directly dictates the depth of your sleep. Understanding this intricate biochemical dance empowers our daily choices. The science, once seemingly abstract, now dictates exactly how we should structure the first hour of our day. It is no longer about forcing ourselves to be morning people through sheer willpower. It is about aligning our behavior with our evolutionary biology. We must prioritize getting outside, ideally within 30 to 60 minutes of waking up. The protocol for this is straightforward but incredibly effective. On a clear, sunny morning, spending just 5 to 10 minutes outside is often enough to trigger the necessary biological cascade. You do not need to stare directly at the sun, which is dangerous and damaging to your eyes. You simply need to look toward the general direction of the sun, allowing the bright ambient light to wash over your retinas without sunglasses blocking the necessary wavelengths. If you live in a climate with heavy cloud cover or frequent overcast mornings, the strategy requires a slight adjustment. Clouds filter out a portion of the light intensity, meaning you need more time to achieve the same biological effect. On these gray days, aim for 20 to 30 minutes of outdoor exposure. Even through dense clouds, the lux of outdoor light remains vastly superior to the artificial bulbs illuminating your kitchen or bathroom. Many people assume they can simply sit by a large window to get their morning light fix. Unfortunately, modern window glass is designed to filter out specific spectrums of light, including the ultraviolet and blue wavelengths crucial for stimulating the melanopsin cells. While sitting by a window is certainly better than sitting in a dark room, it is significantly less effective than stepping outside. The physical barrier of the glass mutates the signal your brain desperately needs. For those waking up before the sun rises, the goal is to simulate the dawn as best as possible until you can get outside. Turn on as many bright overhead lights as you can immediately upon waking. This artificial light will not perfectly replicate the sun, but it will begin the process of waking up your nervous system. Then, the moment the sun actually crests the horizon, make it a priority to step outdoors and get the real thing. Integrating this simple habit into your routine creates a compounding effect on your overall resilience. When your internal clock operates with precision, your body no longer wastes energy trying to guess what time it is or what physical state it should be in. Your digestion optimizes for daytime feeding, your muscle tissues repair more efficiently at night, and your immune system deploys its resources at the correct intervals. The echoes of this daily synchronization resonate through every cell. Over weeks and months, this consistent biological anchoring fundamentally shifts your baseline energy levels. You will likely find yourself waking up naturally before your alarm goes off, feeling a genuine sense of alertness rather than dread. The afternoon slumps that previously drove you toward sugary snacks or extra coffee will begin to smooth out. Your body finally trusts the rhythm you have established, operating with the smooth predictability of a well oiled machine. As modern medicine continues to explore the frontiers of longevity and preventive health, the focus is shifting heavily toward these foundational circadian behaviors. We are moving away from viewing health solely through the lens of isolated interventions and leaning into the power of environmental alignment. Light is no longer just a way to see our surroundings, it is recognized as a primary macronutrient for our nervous system, as vital as the food we eat or the air we breathe. Reclaiming your energy and protecting your long term health does not always require expensive supplements or complex regimens. Sometimes the most profound biological interventions are entirely free and waiting right outside your front door. By simply stepping into the morning light, you honor an ancient biological contract, resetting your master clock and empowering your body to thrive exactly as nature intended. The path to lasting vitality begins the moment you let the morning in.